What if the person who could change your life was just one connection away? Hi, my name is Nick Bonitatibus, owner and founder of Digital Champions, and this is Let's Grow Together, the show about helping you become the best version of yourself. And today we're talking about something that is a little different and unique and outside of, habits and mindset, but more focused around networking and specifically 6 degrees of separation. It's funny, shout out to my friend Stefan. The last couple of times I saw him, he just kept saying 6 degrees of separation. And he would say like, I know this person. And so now you are only a few steps away from it. So that's like the 6 degrees is basically that someone that you know knows someone else. And basically at 6 degrees, you basically know like everyone through that 6 degrees of separation. So 6 people. I know this person who knows that person, who knows that person, who knows that person. And so you have these connections with so many different people that you may not even realize. One of the examples is like, well, you know me, well, I know my friend, and my friend like met Donald Trump and knows Donald Trump. So it's like within 6 degrees of separation, I know the president. Pretty wild when you think about just the connections in how people know each other through these differences. And I think when we think about it from a business standpoint, a growth standpoint, in really trying to connect with more people, we never know who we're going to meet. And I've been very fortunate, and maybe I think part of this is when you move across the country to another state, or some people moving from another country, you are forced to connect with more people because you want to build your network. Hopefully that's what you're doing. For me, it was interesting being in my 30s, trying to make more friends and really put myself out there in certain situations so that I could meet more people. And when I reflected on my own life, I started thinking about stories of how my life completely changed or, shaped where I am today through people that I know. So one of the first examples that I thought of was specifically one of my friends' name is Mike Fassel, and we played on the club baseball team together. Now, he was like a year or two younger than me, and I joined that team just because I thought it would be fun to like continue playing baseball well after, high school and just kind of have fun with it. It wasn't a huge commitment. It was just club. And, Mike Fassel ended up joining the team. At one point towards later, he ended up becoming the president and then appointed me his vice president, which is basically head coach, assistant coach. And what's funny about my friend Mike is that we were sitting in class one day and he asked me, hey, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to experience in a job? And I started asking him or telling him, and I just said, I really just want to do something creative, something that's going to get that flowing, something in marketing. Well, that very next day, Mike Fassel got a message from my old boss, and it was Steve the Hurricane Weiss. So if you're a home care owner, you know the name, you know my background and where I've come from that. And that job changed my life and has gotten me to where I am today. And it's just wild to think about, again, that one connection, Mike Fassel, that then introduced me to my former boss, mentor, friend, that put me on a stage, which then changed my whole existence of figuring out my purpose, which for me, I always think, and I've said this recently at a few events, is that they say you're born twice. The day of your birth and the day you figure out why. And for me, speaking that first time and from a live audience in 2016 was me figuring out my purpose and really finding this love and passion for teaching and for sharing and speaking, which, eventually put me on a path of starting my own business. And now I have my own event, which is so cool, the Home Care Champions Experience, which is happening in September. Shameless plug. What's really cool and just being able to see what can happen through these relationships. Another one that happened, and this one's more about understanding from groups and communities and being willing to invest, is I invested in this program called Masters of Fate. It was a men's group, and one thing that I knew that I wanted to develop was more sales skills. And I knew that there was a lot of salespeople in there. I also knew there's a bunch of people from San Diego. So I thought that would be beneficial for me to meet more people. But I remember being on like one of the first calls that I had, and one of the coaches basically said to me, Nick, you just got to get on more calls. Just book more calls. And it was this one switch for me that in that moment, all of a sudden I was like struggling within the business, talked with him, and then all of a sudden instead of pushing people to like a lead magnet or checking out my website, I just kept saying, would you like to schedule a call? Would you like to schedule a call? And now that completely transformed, because now I was getting on more calls, started getting more sales, and then they were highlighting me in the group specifically around my success that I was able to achieve. And it really only started from that one thing of just booking more calls. So it's amazing what that one person can say, that one thing that can dramatically help you grow in your business. The more recent example that happened with this, and just like understanding the network and how the universe works, and it's amazing to see what can happen when you put yourself in situations to succeed. In many cases, again, investing in communities and programs to expand your network. And for me, I invested in this group called CEO Life, which was a local San Diego group. And what ended up happening was I met this guy, John. And me and him just kind of connected immediately, even though there's a bunch of other people there. You know, we just kind of vibed, and so much so that I'm actually going to his wedding, which is super fun and exciting. It just goes to show in such a short time, we became so close. But the thing that really became amazing about me meeting John was the fact that then John introduced me to this guy, Jason. Jason was and has been such an influential individual in my business, specifically around my event, the Home Care Champions Experience, because he helped run it. He helped find the venue. He was there. And because of him, I was able to serve at a whole nother level within my business because of Jason. And I never would have met Jason if I never met John. I never would have met John if I didn't invest in the CEO Life. So it just goes to show you, again, your network, you never know how you're going to meet someone, who you're going to meet. And so to me, one of the most fundamental aspects of like success in business comes down to networking. But also to me, I was willing to invest. I was willing to put money on the table to put myself in higher level groups that would attract higher level people into my circle. And so I encourage you to do the same for you. And I know I've touched on this a few times already, but if you are a home care business owner and you want to find other individuals that are like-minded, that want to grow, that want to improve, a huge aspect of the event in September in San Diego is about connection, is about networking and finding people that want to grow, that want to improve, and being and learning from each other. This isn't a conference where you're just going and hearing people speak and talk the whole time. It's really about finding that environment, because I know that I've had such an incredible experience going to events. And so that's the goal of my event, is specifically to help facilitate that so that you can transform your life. Maybe meet somebody at the event that transforms you and helps you to meet somebody else, or gets you to do that one thing that dramatically changes your life and business, because you don't need to do it alone. Let's grow together.